We believe CRM is always a strategy, an approach to build and nurture relations with your customers. We turn every stone while offering HCRM to our customers, from identifying key KPIs and offering agile support to last mile user adoption. With this product, all our strengths and capabilities align with the sales transformation needs of the customers to create an amazing experience and groundbreaking results. Because when good business grow, so does the nation. So now I would like to welcome our today's speaker, Mrs. Chitra Singh. Chitra is a sales mentor and inspirer, community nurturer, and a lifelong learner with 3 decades of expertise in building and scaling inspired sales teams. To put it simple, she loves selling, and her purpose is to inspire people, especially women, to love selling too. She started her career as a medical representative with Johnson & Johnson and learned the basics of great selling there. Made calls at 11, sometimes wading through knee-deep water in Mumbai rain. She learned all her knows selling in those first few crazy, fulfilling years. She then went to do her master's in management and lead sales teams in India's largest banks through phenomenal sales success. During her career
Yeah,
spanning
somebody saying they can't hear. Sorry to interrupt. I think some people can't hear. Somebody...
No. In between there was a blank, but now I can. Now it's good. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, okay. So continue with. During her sales career spanning 3 decades in sales leadership roles, she found very few women proactively choosing and remaining in sales roles to achieve leadership positions. She was always the only woman in sales leader in the room. She decided that it was a time for her to encourage other women to sell with confidence and lead with conviction. So, from this thought was born the idea of starting a community to mentor women to succeed at selling. So, today's webinar is on navigating through the obstacles in sales. So, let's see what Chitra has to say on this. Over to you, Chitra, and welcome to this webinar.
Thank you so much, and I'm so happy that you are so confident. It was really a very confident and inspiring introduction. And if I had been an audience or a participant, I'm sure I would have felt very, very inspired. So happy and so nice to see so many women in sales and on a Saturday afternoon. Welcome to all of you to this. This is not really a webinar. It is more an interactive session where I will share my thoughts and experiences in sales with you, and hopefully it will inspire you to sell better, to sell with confidence and be inspired sellers, which is the tagline of the community I run, which is India's first women only sales community. Basically, the purpose of this community is to provide an ecosystem to enable 1 million women to sell with confidence and lead with conviction, as Ria said, so put it so beautifully. And I would like to go through some of the slides because I can actually keep talking without slides, but we will take a few slides just to give some structure to this. And then I will take on any questions you may have about sales. And I was actually ready to speak on how to sales can transform your life. And then Ria told me you have to speak about confidence. And now she's telling us that we have to talk about obstacles in sales. No problem. That is what selling is about, right? Navigating all your obstacles confidently, because in front of the customer, you don't know what is the googly which is going to come. And so that is it. So let's just go through a few of the slides. And before that, while she's opening the presentation, let's just have a quick round of introductions. She's already given a very long introduction about me. The only thing I want to add there is after J&J, I went on to ICICI, I went on to Kotak, Deutsche Bank. I went on to head the transformation team in Jana Small Finance Bank. And finally, after 30 years, I realized that despite the fact that 30 years have passed, the women in sales have not increased. And that is a genuine problem with both our own internal barriers, which prevent us from choosing sales as a career, but also the external ecosystem, which was not really welcoming for women in sales. And that's why I started this community to mentor and upscale and enable women to succeed at selling. So don't go by the title. You can ask me any question, no problem. I'm sure together we can find the answers. So just keep moving very quickly because I want to talk to people more than
the screen is visible, right, to everybody?
So would you all quickly like to tell me about yourselves? I can see Pooja first on my screen. So quickly just tell in one line that what do you do?
So I am, hi Sidra,
Hi.
myself Pooja Kedekar, and I'm the regional manager for SCR. So of course, I'm in this space from past 10 years,
Nice.
working with the team.
Nice. So quickly, just let's go through it quickly, and then as we talk and get to know each other, we'll be able to share more. I can see Priya. Hi.
Hi. So I'm working as a senior inside sales manager with HCRM since last 4 years. So basically my job includes pre-sales and post-sales activities.
Wonderful. Shamla, then Meena. First Shamla.
This is Shamla here. I'm working as a sales support in Newmac Controls Private Limited from past 2 years.
That's nice. Meena.
Hi, everybody. Ashley, I also have a lot of background in sales, and I was, I just got onto this webinar because it is interesting. Now, I have also spanned a lot of industries in sales. Like you said, Chitra, that there are very few women in sales. Yes, I was also one of the very few women in sales, whether it be in telecom or in steel industry, in hospitality. So I've spanned different domains. So in sales, I'm quite interested to kind of see as to what more learnings I can get out of this. Right now, I run a multilingual BPO, wherein I want to take on processes for pre-sales. And so that's domain I have not really ventured into, but that'll be the team which will be working. I just want to know how to drive that and, maybe network, develop my networks through this to kind of reach the.
So you brought in a very important point and a pillar of succeeding in sales and in life, which is networking. And as you can see on the screen, I keep toggling between introductions and the screen. So if it's distracting, let me know that you already know about the community and what is the purpose of the community. The pillars of the community very interestingly talk about networking, because we believe that finding the right mentor, which is mentoring, learning and upskilling, and networking, these are the 3 keys for a successful career, whether in sales or otherwise, and which is why the community provides all 3 opportunities. And I'm glad you brought that up, because networking is the single most important criteria which helps a woman or a man build connections in order to get ahead in business or in life or at work. So Absolutely. We'll touch upon that, and I'm sure you know the importance, but we'll talk about it more. Let's quickly go to Kadambari. I can see her next on my screen.
Hello everyone. Hi Chitra.
Hello.
I am Kadambari. I'm basically into marketing, and I believe that this is the first time, my first webinar with you. I believe that I'll be learning a lot from you in this webinar.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I can see Vidhi, then Hema.
Hello everybody. Vidhi, and I am from HVAC Technology.
Somebody has to be on mute. I think it's Hema.
Yeah. So I've been working with HVAC Technologies for more than 2.5 years, and my overall job experience has been roughly around 6 years. So I started my career with sales, then switched to marketing, and now I am back into sales. So I'm really looking forward to this call.
Wonderful. Hema, Nandini.
Hello, good evening everyone. I'm Hema here. Presently, I'm working in Newmac Controls Private Limited as a deputy manager sales support.
So exciting to see so many women in sales. I'm really happy. Yeah. Really happy. Nandini.
Hi, good evening everyone.
Hi.
Actually, I have 5+ years experience in sales and marketing. I am doing pre-bid, post-bid, and pre-sales and post-sales activities for Africa and the Middle East region.
Nice.
Happy to learn from you, ma'am.
I am too. This is going to be learning from each other.
Yeah.
Sharvari, Yami, Yamink. Sharvari, then Yamink, then Namrata. Are you all there? Are you listening to us? Who is there? Sharvari, Yamink, Namrata. Okay, I don't see them here. We can move on. So, well, I already talked about the problem which we are trying to address through the community. First is that there's hardly any representation of women in sales. So, if you look at entry levels, you find 35 to 40% are women. As you go on to middle management levels in sales, representation of women is 19%. But at senior levels, it is hardly 10 to 12%. And what is the problem? Why are women dropping out from about 40% at entry level to senior levels? Is because there are many pressures, many obstacles, which again we will talk about. Some of them are our own inherent barriers, biases. Some of them are work-life balance and so many other issues. Also, there is very, very few women proactively choose sales as a career because it's not viewed as a glamorous profession or a profession of pride or respect. No one says with pride, I am a salesperson. Or no one says that my daughter or son is a salesperson with pride. Architect, doctor, engineer, banker, these are supposed to be careers which are respectable and which people are very proud of. So again, there is inadequate talent pipeline. Very few women choose sales as a career. And third, when women are business owners or entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, they don't take charge of selling because they are afraid or anxious or fearful about selling. And they say sales is not my cup of tea. And that is why we have started with various initiatives, including the networking, the mentoring, and the workshops through which we impart knowledge and the skills required to succeed. We move on very, very quickly. She's already, Ria, you can move to the next slide. Already about me, I think she's told a lot of what I do, and I have also told you. The only things we left out was that I do a lot of other things. I love fitness, singing, poetry. I write poems. I love running, nature walks, traveling, and of course, my daughter, Stuti. She's 21 years old. So these are all my loves. And for those who keep saying that work-life balance is not possible, I think all the things I do, including hosting podcasts and blogging, I think will tell you that it is possible. And we'll talk more about it. So let's move on. So this is what sales meant to people, right? What was the perception of sales? Do you all remember? I don't know how many of you remember this movie called Chashme Baddoor. It really gives away my age because in this movie, the heroine was Dipti Nawal, this lady who's seen on the left, and the hero was Farooq Sheikh, who's unfortunately passed away. That was the perception of sales, right? The Miss Chamko with the detergent going from door to door. And what is the perception of sales now? Now, this is this confident woman who's standing there, B2B selling, SaaS selling, software, tech sales, high ticket closer, BFSI selling. And this is what the perception is. So we've moved a long way and the needle has shifted. And often you can read what is written down. I write a lot of this stuff, and some of it is there for you to see, which says, don't ever make decisions to accommodate your fears. Make them to give flight to your ambitions. So earlier, when I said that I want to become an MR, my mother told me, "Have you become mad? Will you carry a bag and go from doctor to doctor? What kind of profession is this?" So that is when I actually got a little scared. And I thought, oh, am I making the right choice? And then finally, I thought, no, I must do what I feel is right inside, which is why this is what I'm saying, that don't make decisions to accommodate your fears or someone else's perceptions. Make them because you believe it's right in your heart for you. So let's move on now to the next. So we're talking about confident people. We are talking about inspired people and what really makes a person an inspired person and what is an inspired life and how does that help you to be an inspired seller. So anybody has any ideas here, you are free to talk. You can unmute, you can talk, ask questions. Let's not make it a one-way monologue. Anybody has any ideas? How can being an inspired person help you in being an inspired seller? Or who is an inspired seller? I keep talking about inspired selling through my community, which is the tagline. Because I say we are not just sellers, we are inspired sellers because we love selling. And that's the basic difference.
I think, just making the challenge of kind of converting every opportunity into a success by, putting across your product or service is the ground reality of every business. I mean, if you don't do sales, there's nothing else happening in the company. All marketing and strategies and all fail. So ground rule sales is what. So that's the kick you get, and that's inspiring because the profits come out of your sales. I mean, to me, it was absolute ground reality that if you sell, everyone's gonna get their paychecks. So I'm very instrumental in generating sales because I know that I'm going to cater to the company's bottom lines. I mean, so and also the success of reaching out, picking up your checks for everything that you go out and sell is it kind of really builds your confidence.
Yeah, it's also addictive. Absolutely right. So she's taken the words right out of my mouth that selling is value adding at the highest level for the top line as well as the bottom line. And we'll go through those slides because I am going to talk about the various advantages of selling, because the idea is also to elevate sales and to position it as a profession which is something to be proud of. A lot of us, I don't think, have that pride anymore in our profession. So in India, at least, we have a long way to go. And across the world, we have so many organizations like National Association for Women Sales Professionals, Women in Sales Everywhere, Women Sales Leaders, Lori, Lanet. There are so many women, Cynthia Mans, who are working towards getting more women into sales. But in India, there's no such organization. So quickly, I'll go into my definition of what is an inspired person and who is an inspired seller. You can use the word inspired and confident interchangeably. But my belief is that who you are is how you sell. So who you are as a person, whether you're an authentic, honest, real person, that comes out in your selling, because selling is all about people selling to people, people connecting with people, people engaging with people, and finally people inspiring other people to buy. So if at the core you are an honest, real person, that comes out in your in all your sales conversations. And I don't call it transaction because I don't believe that sales are transactions. They are the beginning of relationships. And there are two types of people in the world. Some who are always complaining, some who are always making excuses. For example, they'll say, oh, I want to lose weight, but I don't have any time to go to the gym. Or I want to learn singing, but I don't have any time for music class, and so on. So I call them aspirers. They are always aspiring to be something, to do something, to get somewhere, to go somewhere, but they don't have the self-belief. And when you're aspiring to become something without believing in yourself, you can never be that something. Those, in my opinion, are aspirers. In contrast, you have some people who are called inspirers. Now, inspirers don't make excuses. They don't look for external motivation, and they don't look for validation from outside. They have that spark from within themselves. And that is why it's called inspiration, because it's coming from within themselves. And they take action on their own. They don't wait for others to take action or the world to help them. They are inspired enough to take action on their own, and they reach their goals or they move towards success by means of their determination, their perseverance, and the daily actions that they take. So this is the difference between an inspirer and an aspirer. And my belief is that those who are inspired are the ones who live an inspired life. And in all their actions, in all that they say and do, they display excellence. And that's how we know that they are inspirers. So there's a word which is used very commonly by people saying motivation. She is motivated. I'm a motivational speaker, etc., etc. But I don't believe motivation lasts. So can someone tell me why? Why do I believe that motivation doesn't last? Anyone knows the answer? It's there in what I said just a while ago, because motivation is external. So it's like a trigger, your boss standing over you and saying, okay, if you don't do the target this quarter, you're out. Or, okay, if you don't lose weight now, you will suffer from blood pressure, and so on. So motivation is external. As soon as the trigger or or that particular external stimulus goes away, the need to act also goes away, whereas inspiration is internal. And that is why you don't need anybody telling you what to do. You do what is right on your own, which is what I've talked about here. You do what is right, irrespective of whether somebody is telling you to do it, whether your boss is asking you to do it. You do what is right for you. You do what is right for your customer, and automatically what is right will come back to you. So let's go to the next slide. So how many of you believe that sales is the reason that you have joined a job? Sales is your why. Your purpose is to change lives. Your purpose is to make a difference, to add value. How many of you really believe that sales is so important? Meena already mentioned that she thinks that sales is the lifeblood of a business, right? It's the heart of the business, because without sales, there will not be a customer. And without a customer, there is no need for the business. Right? So we are the ones who bring in. But how many of you really believe that sales is your purpose? It's your calling and it's your job to serve others, to help them, and to reach their goals and to make a difference to their lives? You can put up your hands. Right. So Meena again smiling and saying that. So others are still thinking, is sales this or is sales that? That is this, right? Gun to the head, target karo, deal leke aao, itne $1 million karo, itne rupees karo, etc., etc. If sales is your why, which means that it adds meaning and purpose to your life, then you're in the right profession. But if sales is not your why, then I don't think you're in the right profession. And I'm saying this to you, even though you are salespeople. So again, I have classified people into 3 types of people. And this is from a known study that there are 3 types of people, and they are classified on the basis of how they approach their careers. So there are some people who have a job orientation. Second set has a career orientation, and the third set has a purpose or a calling orientation. The people who have a job orientation just want to get by somehow. Paise mil jaye, salary check mil jaye, ho gaya bas. That's all they want. The second set of people has a career orientation, which means that they want to become sales manager, they want to become sales head, they have some aspirations regarding their career, and so they work hard towards it. But the third set of people who's got a purpose or a calling orientation, they are the ones who really are inspired from within, and they believe that they are here to make a difference, to add value, and to impact lives positively. Because in sales, you can use what is called the 4 I's. You can impact your customer's life positively. You can bring about an improvement or a change in their lives. You can influence them towards positive outcomes. And finally, you can inspire them to buy. So this is what I call the 4 I's of selling. There are so many things you can do: improve, impact, influence, and finally inspire to buy, because we can't force somebody to buy. And there is a very interesting tidbit I want to add here, that does anybody know the origin of the word sales? Where did this word sales come from? No. Has anybody read about it, heard about it? When you hear about it, you will realize the reason why I'm saying all these. It's from a Scandinavian word, which is called to serve. To sell is to serve, right? And when we understand that we are in the service of others, we will understand what we have to do in sales. Now, even in leadership, this term is used called servant leader. Often people wonder, how can a leader be a servant? Because a leader is always viewed as a boss. But finally, in service lies significance, in service lies greatness. And when you view sales as the ability to serve others, then it doesn't become a pain. You feel happy to sell and happy to serve. So let's move on now. Any other thoughts here? Any other perspectives which you have? Anybody thinks that they don't agree with this view? Please share your views. Yeah, tell me.
The thing is, I mean, I do not agree with what you said. You put it very beautifully, the 4 I's of sales. I'm just saying that the thing with, I think, women is we look at sales as being very aggressive kind of a role. So you shy away from it. But we are all salespeople in our own homes, in our own environment. We're always selling, perpetually selling. And I think women are really good at sales because they are multitasking and doing so many things for so many people round the clock that we're constantly selling. And I think that's why a woman runs a home, a woman runs. So we forget that when we move that in a professional sphere. And that's why I think the fears are there with most women, especially. They don't really register that inherently we are born salespeople. I mean, it just comes naturally.
Absolutely. So that is a slide which is coming later. So I don't want to like run away with the horse. Let's just get there. Yeah, let's just get there. And you're making really interesting points. And I agree with you entirely that the way we ourselves view sales has to change, right? So the first of all, the barriers and the biases we have inside of us, those should change. That sales is not a profession for women, maybe traveling, maybe safety, maybe the harassment which we think is there in sales. Of course, in all male dominated professions, the chances or probability of harassment is more. But look at it worldwide. The workforce participation of women is 40% worldwide. But in India, anyone knows what is the workforce participation of women in India? What percentage of women in the ages of 15 and above who are employable are actually in the workforce? Hardly 20%. We are half of the world average. So in fact, out of some 145 countries, we are almost at the bottom in terms of the gender gap. And the reason is because women are not participating in the workforce. In fact, urban women are participating even less than rural. Urban workforce participation of women is 15%, which is even lower than rural, because we seem to have a choice of dropping out from the workforce, which we use. And often those choices are not dictated by our own beliefs and our own values. They are dictated by social norms, expectations, maybe fear of isolation if we don't agree to those, or maybe wanting to be accepted, being validated, and so on. So I call this SEVI, the social acceptance, validation, and the whole idea that if we don't conform to these norms, we will not be accepted by society. Lot of the reasons why women approach sales in a particular way is to do with the way we think about sales. But for now, we leave that aside, and we will talk about what is it that sales can give us in our lives, and what is it that we can add as a seller to this world. As I told you, if you love selling, then it's easy for that love to translate into conviction, authenticity, and honesty in your sales conversations. And the customer will be able to see that. So finally, selling becomes much easier when your confidence in yourself is bigger than your fear of failure. Very often, when we enter into something, why are we afraid or nervous? Because we are afraid of failing. We are afraid of people laughing at us or falling flat on our face. But when our self belief and confidence fuel us, and they are bigger than our doubts or our fear of failure, that's when you can succeed in selling. So if you have that pride, if you view yourself as a diagnostician or as a solution provider or even as a doctor, then I think we will not think that we are peddlers or we are pushing something onto somebody or we are being manipulative. We're actually catalysts, because often the customer does not even know that he or she requires something, and then we change. For example, I'll give you an example. Before the TV came, did we even know that we require a television at home? I don't think y'all remember a time when there was no TV. I do. I do remember a time when there was no TV. Similarly, before mobile phones came, did we even know? Yeah, sometimes we would feel that it's inconvenient, that we can't call, that we had got used to that. Before, there were these large desktops, right? Now we have the tablets, the iPads, and so many other things, the MacBook Air, and so on. So we didn't even know. And it's a salesperson's job to completely change the customer's perception of what is needed and what is required in their lives. So as long as our view of sales is that it's a craft, and we are actually the people who are skilled at that craft, we are there to advise and provide solutions to the customer, we will automatically get that pride in our sales relationships. So let's move on. We're coming to why sales. Does everybody believe this? Raise your hands. Let me know if you believe this, that you can make a lot of money in sales. So those who are not on camera need to switch on their cameras, because very difficult to talk to some black stuff there, right? So yeah, you believe it. So how many of you believe that? I can see only 1 or 2 hands on my screen. Okay. Nandini believes, Vidhi believes. Okay. Right. So everybody knows that you have incentives in sales, and everybody knows that there is an opportunity to make 2x, sometimes 3x of your salary as commission. But of course, we are not here for the money. It's a byproduct of making your customers happy. Because if you are trying to wrangle and manipulate them to buy, you will do your target this quarter, and you will keep going from quarter to quarter and deal to deal and always be frustrated and unhappy. Rather, your focus should be on delighting your customers and making them happy. Then they will keep coming back and there'll be repeat business. So that makes sense for you in terms of business, and it makes sense for your customers also, because your focus is on the customer and not on that deal. Second reason of why of sales. Let's just go on to the second reason. Quickly, let's move on to the next reason. So very often it is said about women that they don't really have the time to network. They are not visible in organizations, and that is why they are not promoted to leadership roles, because people don't really know what they are doing or where they are contributing. We also hesitate to advocate ourselves, to self-promote. Plus, we won't take part in the after office, what is called the karo bar, right? This anybody knows what is a karo bar? So there are supposed to be these cars parked outside offices on which people put their drinks and then have a bar, which is just outside the office. And these are called karo bars, in which many men participate and women run away from these bars because we have to run home to our kids and our husbands and all our duties. And therefore, we don't network, we are not visible, but sales is automatically a high revenue generating, high impact, highly visible role, which means that if you do your numbers, automatically you are viewed as a performer and you're in the eyes of the top management, because they know you're contributing directly to the top line and you're also contributing to the bottom line. Except for finance, I don't know any other role which can have such a direct impact. All others are support functions, marketing, HR. Unfortunately, they are there only because the customer is there. So if every company realizes that sales is their lifeblood and their salvation lies in sales, they will in turn give the respect which is required to a salesperson, and the salesperson will be happy to be in sales. So the third, we'll quickly move on to the next one. Visibility, I already talked about, that you are the one bringing in the business, and unlimited opportunities, traveling, seeing the world. Even if you're handling only India, I think I've traveled across the length and breadth of the country, new perspectives, new people, and you develop an abundance mentality. You know that there is enough to go around for everybody. Let's move on. Obviously, it helps you to do things for the customers which no one else can, right? For example, you look at somebody who is when I was in J&J, for example, we were selling sutures which were absorbable sutures. In those days, there were no sutures which were absorbed after operations. They were used in neurosurgery and they were used by gynecs in surgeries, cesarean surgery. So at that time, people had to actually use the sutures, and after the stitches, after the wound was healed, the stitches had to be removed. The suture had to be removed. It was very, very painful. And now you can imagine that when I went and sold these absorbable sutures, it actually changed the way doctors viewed things. And it gave me an opportunity to actually serve the customer and to change their lives positively. And when you have such an opportunity, why would you do anything else? So for those who are still doubting, why are you in sales or what it can do to transform your life, we obviously change the way things are done by the customers and the way they view your product or solution. Move on. This is my most favorite point, that how can it make you a more confident person? How can it make you a better person? Because it gives us the ability to bounce back from failure. In sales, we have more rejections, right? 40% of our deals are status quo or no decision, right? Which means out of every 100 customers, 40 customers are likely to make no decision and not go ahead with the sale. And yet we go on to the next customer because we don't view no as no, we view it as the next opportunity, right? So it gives us the ability to be eternal optimists, because if you're not an optimist, you cannot be in sales. We view obstacles as opportunities. It helps you to become better at communicating. It helps you to become a more intelligent listener, because we are supposed to listen more and talk less in sales. The listen to talk ratio is 60-40, and I think all of us know that the more we listen, the more clues we get about how we should ideally deal with a customer and how we should provide solutions from what they are saying. Also, it gives us a bias for action. So if you see a lot of people who are in business, they will not respond to you after contacting you. They will not respond for 1 week, 2 weeks, and they'll say, oh, I got busy in XYZ. I have seen a lot of service providers, say content providers, say digital marketing experts, or say website editors and so on. They just don't get back. And I think they don't realize that more than 50% of the deals goes to the vendor who responds first. And since they don't understand that and they don't have a bias for action, they lose a lot of business.
Absolutely. Today itself, I have closed on a website developer because 7 people I reached out to did not bother responding or said they couldn't get through. And you're right, absolutely right.
So, but in sales, we know there's no choice, right? If we don't have a bias for action and we don't have that urgency to respond quickly, somebody else, our competition, will come in and take the lead away. And finally, it gives you confidence. And the reason it gives you confidence is because day in and day out, you are talking to new people. You have to improvise as you go along. You don't have a script, right? And which is why a lot of people ask me, how is it that you just talk? That's because years of selling has given me that confidence that I can talk in any situation and I can also navigate any situation. And that is why you become a more confident person. Ultimately, I think all of us are born confident human beings. Have you seen an underconfident child? Who's seen a very underconfident child? Were you? Vidhi saying yes, no. I'm talking about babies. Very, very small babies, 6 months, 1 year, right? They are untouched by the world and the experiences. Nobody has criticized them so far, and therefore they are really confident. They laugh, they'll smile, they'll walk, they'll fall, but that doesn't deter them, and they'll again get up, and again they'll play, and again they'll walk. We are born confident, but somewhere life's experiences and what people say to us color our views, and we become underconfident. And that is what the bridge is between who you are and who you can be. That is a bridge which is confidence. And in my opinion, sales helps you to become that. Because if you are not a confident person, you are not able to remain in sales. So how many of you say that you are underconfident? Anybody here?
No.
No. Yes. So I agree that every person in sales ultimately becomes confident, because without that you cannot be in sales. So it does make you a better person. Let's move on. Ria, you can move to the next slide. She was talking about it, Meena was talking about it, that why are women better at selling? And though we are often applauded for, things like beauty, and we are applauded for multitasking, and we are also applauded for being, what is that called? Tyag ki Devi and Mamta ki Murat. But I don't think those are the reasons women should be applauded for, because it's enough of tyag and enough of tapasya and enough of sacrifice and enough of compromise. Women should be applauded for their abilities, their competence, what they bring to the table, what value they add, rather than their beauty and youth. And we all talk about this world not being an equal place for women, but somewhere I think we are also responsible for actually valuing ourselves because of our beauty and youth and our appearance, rather than for our brains or competence or the value we add. So as long as we continue to believe that we should be, our worth is dependent on our beauty and youth, this world will not become equal. So we have to actually change the world for our daughters and tell them to believe that their success is dependent on their capabilities and their brains, not on their beauty or youth. Very few can make money out of their beauty, like say Katrina Kaif, etc., etc. But obviously we are not in that business, right? But the reason why women can succeed in sales is because they are good listeners. They are natural storytellers. I think the best stories your grandmom or mom must have told you. They are relationship focused. They are not competitive. They are not focused on the deal at any cost. They are focused on collaborative outcomes, because that is how women are built. We are natural nurturers. We cannot beat biology, right? Biologically, we are nurturers. We ask a lot of questions. So if you see, even for a child, when she falls down or he falls down, the mother or the aunts are the ones asking the most, kahan gire, kaise hua, kya hua? So we ask a lot of questions, and in sales that helps us, because probing or discovery is what is the most important step in discovering what the customer needs, and then positioning your solution in such a way that it meets the customer's requirements. And we are naturally curious. Like they say, tumhare pet mein baat nahi pachti, right? We are curious, yes. We ask questions and we love to talk, and that helps us in sales. So let's move on. Now, move on. This is just a testimonial on me. I just want to go to the last slide. So this is my belief and the philosophy with which I approach sales, that sales is an opportunity to change the world one customer at a time. Each time you touch the customers' lives, do so positively, and then you can keep changing the world. It's a unique opportunity. Not everybody has it, and it's a talent not everybody has. You all have it. So I'm sure that you will be able to utilize it in order to become confident, inspired human beings who can make a difference to every single life that you touch. So now we will stop here and just listen to your thoughts and views. These are my contacts. If you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, I'm there as Chitra Singh Sampath Kumar. I'll put it in the chat box shortly as I'm answering the questions. But we'll stop share now, and we will take some questions. So anybody has any questions on work-life balance, on obstacles in sales, on how to do any particular step in sales better, how to be more confident, anything?
I guess Vidhi have raised her hand. I guess she wants to say something. Vidhi?
Hi, can you guys hear me? I think I am not able to see you guys moving. Yeah, better. I think yes, a lot of things were just touched upon by Chitra ma'am, and it is that we girls, I mean, I am at a very early stage of my career, and since you have been through the journey of your life very beautifully and have succeeded most of it, I just want to know and seek guidance from you that how have you been able to manage throughout throughout your journey so far? Like, yes, you have been traveling across India, that you like you said, and also you have had to maintain a balance with your family. How well could you cope that up?
Okay. Yeah. So I will talk about it. I first of all, I worked till the last day, so I don't think that women should view pregnancy or motherhood as a full stop to their careers. It is a comma, and it's a pause for 3 to 6 months. That also because of the fact that we need to be available to the child, and we also need to recover our stamina and strength. But otherwise, it is not a full stop like most people view marriage, mobility, motherhood. These are the three reasons women quit their careers, right? The three dreaded M's. I've added a fourth one, which is the mother-in-law, because often the mother-in-law can be your biggest supporter, or she can be your biggest enemy or your frenemy. But whichever way, how was I able to cope was the question. And through it all, I think I had a lot of support from my spouse. I would say that. And therefore, the way to go forward is to use your entire family, your ecosystem, and tell them clearly what you want. So if you ask for what you want, you normally get it. And don't call it help, because it's not your job alone. It's a joint child, right? It's a joint responsibility. He or she is a joint responsibility. And therefore, before you have the child, discuss that my career is important, and therefore we will need to manage our schedules in such a way. When I traveled, my husband wouldn't travel. When he traveled, I wouldn't travel. And if both of us had to travel, my sister or mother-in-law were there. My elder sister or my mother-in-law would stay with the child till she was 2 or 3. Either of us was there. After she was 3 or 4 and became little older, either my sister or mother-in-law would be there with her. So there is no other option for us but to draw upon our ecosystem and use them. That is the only word. And negotiate with them, because if we don't ask for what we want, the answer will always be no. Often we hesitate to ask because all this guilt, mom guilt, is within us. Oh, I should be there for the child and I should not be neglecting the child, so called. But these either or choices are suboptimal in my opinion. It should not be an either or choice. It should be an and. That is, I can be a mother and a manager. I can be a parent and a professional. So when you view the world through the lens of and, the choices become easier, because then you can do this and this. But if you think it's either or, then you're forced to leave one or the other. And I think that is where all of us get stuck, because we feel we can either be a good mother or do justice at work. We can either be a good parent. But just think about it. Most men do not view becoming a father as a full stop. Why?
Absolutely not.
Why? Anybody has the answer to that?
Maybe they think that it is their core responsibility to run the house or something.
Absolutely. So Sharvari, Yaming, Aditi, Rudrani, etc. Whoever's there, Namrata, I think I'd love to see your faces, because we are now talking about woman to woman. We are not talking about sales, or this is not a theory lesson going on. We're talking about life and challenges, and I'm sure all of us have the same, right? When my daughter, so I worked till the last day. She's now 21. But I worked till the last evening. Yeah. So I was in sales that, 4-5 hours I won. I'll need to. What do you want? Okay. Okay. So like I said, till the last day I was working, and the last evening I was on a call in Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and we were having some presentations the whole day. And because of that, I think that you'll need to turn off your phone. So because of that, what happened is when I reached home, I think I was very tired. And then the next morning, I said, I'm not feeling too well. And we went into the hospital. So nevertheless, the story ends here because I worked at the last day. And during pregnancy and maternity, often women are denied promotions. And we often talk about that we don't get the promotion because we are on leave, or our ratings suffer, or we don't get a raise because people think that our commitment to work and our priorities change. And so this is called pregnancy bias, maternity bias, various names are there. But net, the impression is that women do not get promoted in the year they take ML because they're not available for 3 months or 6 months. But that's not really true. A lot is dependent on how you create the kind of visibility and value in the organization. So, for example, when I was on my ML, that was the time when my boss actually told me that he will come back as a branch head. So that year, I got a promotion, I got a raise, and I got ESOP. So it is possible to do both. It's in our minds that we have either or, and we don't have the and. Because he was sure of my commitment, and of course, you need one such mentor and one such person to believe in you. If that person is your manager, all the better. If that person is not your manager, then you need to find a mentor or a sponsor in your organization who believes that that your gender is not what decides your promotion. It's your merit, your capabilities, and the value you bring to the table.
Absolutely.
I also remember that, in fact, when this promotion was announced, my daughter was 45 days old, and my boss insisted that I should come for that meeting. And I said, no, I can't, I'm on ML, and I had lots of thoughts in my head. And I finally said, you should come because there's good news for you. And I went to that meeting with the baby. And I took my husband along also. I think you saw him in the background. No, yeah, maybe you didn't, because anyway, he was here in the room. And he came along and brought the baby, and I attended that meeting, got my promotion, and then came back. So all of it is possible. The baby, 45 days old, came along with me. And I would say choosing a partner wisely is one of the best decisions you can make, who is supportive and as invested in your career as you, and who believes that both of you succeed together or not at all. And it makes business sense or whatever, economic sense, because then they have a choice too, right? In the sense that you can tell them that, listen, if you want to quit your job, it's fine if you're unhappy, because I'm there, I can run the house. And now I know that there are lots of women doing that. Recently, I met a man who left his job in Deloitte, and he is now on his way to studying to be a coach. And his wife is working in Deloitte too, and she's running the home now, and he's studying to be a coach. So, unusual arrangement, but if they are happy, why not?
Absolutely. So there was another point that I wanted to understand. Like you said, that beauty is not something that you are supposed to sell on, but being into sales or being into marketing, even if you are technically sound, or even if you are much talented to sell anything upon your pitch, but there are a lot of obstacles that come in from the male dominated or the kind of environment we work in. Even if we are succeeding, we people think that oh yes, this could be the charm that is used, and that is why they won the orders and stuff like that. Also, if not that, there are people who expect a lot other than just business relations. So how do you handle that?
So there will always be these people in the world, right? The naysayers. There will always be those kind of people in whichever field you are. And it's not like men do not face these, because there are often these kind of prejudices they face too. Of course, women face it a little more. But the fact is that we continue to do what we are supposed to do. Like I said initially, that you make excellence your hallmark and display excellence in everything that you do and say, and make yourself so good at what you're doing that your retention and advancement becomes non-negotiable for the organization, right? So you're so skilled and you're so good at what you do that it becomes imperative for the organization to retain you rather than the other way around. And in sales, it becomes important. For example, you bring a 50 crore check on 31st of March, you're the most important person that day, right? Build relationships in such a way with your customers that you become indispensable in the organization. And similarly, invest in time and effort in your career till you become, your economic contribution becomes indispensable at home. Very often we quit when our earnings are very less, right? And for example, I'm earning say 30, 40, 50, 60,000, and my spouse is earning at the same time 70, 80,000. So it is possibly very short, small gap, assuming, or maybe we are earning the same amount. And then I quit because I am having a baby or for whatever reasons. When I come back, the gap becomes wider. And then it becomes wider and wider because I may take off for the second child, or I may not be able to get the same kind of opportunities which I was getting before I left this job. And therefore, so somewhere we need to persist till we reach that stage. For example, again, I delayed having a child for 10 years. And many people thought that, oh my God, there's some problem, etc., etc. But I didn't bother about them. And as I did that because I wanted to make sure I reach a certain position in life and I'm able to afford to give my child all that I want to. And also the fact that at that point in time, my earnings were too important to ignore, right? It became non-negotiable for me to continue my career. And I know a lot of women quit in the first 2-3 years and have children. And at that time, the earnings are not significant. But we have to think of it from the long term. Today, I'm earning 20, but after 2 years, after 5 years, after 20 years, also very early on and important that you take charge of your finances, have your own bank account, manage your investments, understand mutual funds, invest in shares. Because if you don't do that, again, and you don't have financial independence, you don't have freedom of choice unless you're financially independent. We cannot make our choices. And choices have consequences, of course, but the fact is that we have both, right? We have the choice to say no. We have the choice not to compromise, not to accept the status quo. And we have a voice to make a difference and to ask for what we deserve and to negotiate for the value we deserve. Unfortunately, most of us don't ask because we are afraid of upsetting the apple cart, afraid of spoiling relationships, afraid of losing relationships. There is a lady in my community whose name I won't take. She is 7 months pregnant and she has pressure to leave her job because of the baby, and she has an 8-year a daughter in 8th, and there's a lot of pressure from her family. And the problem is same, that she's not economically earning as much as her husband, and therefore it seems to be easy to tell her to quit her job. But the fact is that she's a capable woman, so she needs to I'm saying bye to Meena. I think she is going. Yes, bye, nice meeting you. Do stay in touch.
Yes, bye-bye.
Bye. So so make it non-negotiable and make your career your primary focus. Here I call it, what I call the SIP syndrome. We have this.
Yes, ma'am. Me also faced the same problem. After 2 year backs, I joined a job. Currently, I am completed 2 years. So before I had 2 years break after my first baby born. So I reminded of my past.
Yeah, so actually we should not negotiate at all on this basis that we need to quit, because tomorrow you will have daughters. Would you want the same decision for your daughter? Would you want her to quit? Just ask yourself that question. How many of you have daughters? Who has daughters? No one. Pooja K has a daughter. Yeah,
We have two girl babies.
You have 2 girl babies. So would you want those girl babies to be in the same crossroads as you and decide between career and child, between parent and professional? Would you, what advice would you give her, that child, that baby, when she grows up? I'm asking you, Nandini. And you are talking to everyone else. Huh? I'm not putting you in the spot. I'm saying that you are the voice for everyone else. Hello. I can see her behind. Hello. So the choices we make today actually affect the future generations. And I think it is in our hands to leave a more equal world for our daughters and sons than what we have inherited from our mothers. Not that they did not put in the efforts. My mother worked 50, 60 years back as a teacher. And I think that has influenced me really strongly. She had her own bank account. She took her own financial decisions. And that influenced me very strongly. And I think our daughters look up to us. It is up to us to make sure that we tell them that this is not an easy path, but it's a path of choice for us. And there are lots of sacrifices and compromises we make along the way, including on social life, not being able to go to pubs, partying, marriages, weddings, etc. Because we have time only for home and work. For many years, I had only time for home, work, and there was no socializing and partying. But it was a choice I made, and it was well worth it, because today she's 21, she's on to do her masters, and everything is as it should be in my life. But the fact is, it should be your choice, not imposed upon by others, like in the case of the lady, unfortunately, I was talking about, where it is imposed upon by her family. And it should be your choice entirely. I have all respect for homemakers, because they are doing a job which is unpaid and unappreciated. 75% of the unpaid labor in the world is being done by women. In fact, we are doing 3 times more domestic work than men even today. So, if we get rid of this whole syndrome which we have, SIP, which is superwoman, imposter, primary caregiver, I call this SIP, superwoman, imposter, and primary caregiver. This entire SIP syndrome we have, we should get rid of it. Because we are not superwomen, we can't do everything. We are capable, so why should we feel like imposters? And we are not the primary caregivers, right? It's not, we have defined that role ourselves. Somebody else is the primary breadwinner, we are the primary caregivers. But that's not really true, because it's a joint responsibility to earn the bread, butter, jam, as well as to provide care for elders, for children. My father was ill for many, many years. And my sister, me, and my brother, we divided that responsibility between ourselves, monetarily as well as time wise. Few years he stayed with me, few years with my sister, and few years with my brother. So, what I'm trying to say is that social expectations are many. And often we agree to that, because there are gender defined roles and responsibilities which we need to change, and that change can only come from within us. We must be the change we want to see in the world, or else it's not going to be an equal world for our daughters, at least. So everybody is very silent, either absorbing everything I'm saying or thinking, I don't know what she's talking.
No, you're talking very rightly. Maybe you must be, you're touching the core of everyone's emotion over here because everybody some or the other time would be going ahead with many of the difficulties which you are currently highlighting and are getting also. Sometimes becomes very difficult to try to implement the thing because we know that we are going to, we know that we want to grow, we know where we want to reach or whether like what our parents think for us, but sometimes the responsibilities are or the expectations are so much that we don't able to handle it, or we may not able to take it very emotionally. Get I'm a very emotional person, frankly speaking. तो sometimes प्यार से अगर किसी ने कह दिया कि नहीं ये ऐसे है या आपकी करना है तो I generally take it on hand and I try to do those things. Whereas I'm separating the things. Beyond the things we try to do the things for us. Sometimes missing it might not be our job also. Sometimes it's a whole activity of our team or the people who are with us.
I agree.
So it happens. It happens and yeah.
So I think what I was mentioning initially itself, that we have a lot of boundaries, barriers, doubts, dilemmas within us. And first, we have to get over those internal barriers and doubts and dilemmas within us. Again, there was a research which was done on women and men for how we view applying for certain positions. So, if there are 10 criteria listed for a particular position, women have to tick off all the boxes before they have the confidence to apply. Whereas men, even if they are 60% there, 6 out of 10, they will apply. because they are more confident. So at the ages of 20 and 30, women are less confident than men. At 40, we become equally confident. And at 50, women become more confident, which is what you can see in me. So that's why they say that after 40, women become unmanageable. They start doing whatever they want. That is because it is again proven. So women need a lot more information, a lot more knowledge before they can even decide to give an opinion in a meeting, right? When in a meeting, we think 100 times before we open our mouths. Why? You laugh at me. This is not a new point. What will he or she think about me? X or Y made a better point than me. We have hundreds of reasons to not speak. But there's one reason to speak, right? Which is that you're a woman. And when you are speaking for yourself, you're speaking for every other woman in the world, right? When you are rising, you're and helping other women rise, you are actually acting as a role model for others. And that is what is our role as a woman in an organization, to pave the way for other women in the organization. And it's good that organizations like Edge are recognizing that. And I've seen Ria, she's very confident and she's encouraged a lot by her manager. When there are managers recognizing that hiring women makes business sense. So about women in sales, right? Though we are less in number, the quota achievement rates of women are 8% more than women. Our win rates are 11% more. Our lead conversion rates are 20% more. And still we are paid 21% less. Why? Because we don't negotiate. And the minute we start negotiating, people do realize this. Even in women-led organizations where we have women at CXO levels, returns to shareholders are 34% higher. So it makes business sense also, apart from all the softer reasons, collaboration, nurturing, etc. It makes business sense. And yet we don't ask for what we deserve. We accept the status quo, that, okay, this is the way things were. And I think that's the way things will continue to be. I was also like that. I write a lot on LinkedIn about that, about how I used to be called Gungi Gudiya in my office. I would not speak because of the fact that a lot of people had told me, you're very opinionated, you're very brash, you're very aggressive. I stopped speaking in ICICI Bank. And then finally, I was to get a promotion, and some other, in my opinion, not so brainy person got it. Then I went and asked my boss, why did I not get this? And the person told me all sorts of things. There were no real reasons. And at the end of 6 months, that position was open again, and I got it because I said that I am ready to try it if you're willing to try me. And they finally gave it to me. So I asked, and I got. And often we don't ask because we are too afraid of failure or too afraid of losing. Even in Kotak, I was the only woman national head there who was in Bangalore. Everybody else was in Bombay. I told my boss, I can't move to Bombay. I have a small kid. I will remain in Bangalore. And national head, if you want me as a national head, I'll be in Bangalore. He agreed. So I was in Bangalore. So sometimes you don't get, but then that opportunity is not for you. We have to view it as, okay, there's the next one coming along. But the fact is, ask, make your career non-negotiable, and don't be bogged down by all these social expectations, because society will always applaud you for a mother's role. See, I'm not denying the fact that it is the most beautiful role of your life. It is, but it's not the only role of your life, right? I'm also a mother. I understand that it was the most beautiful moment of my life when my child was born. But the point is that need not be the only role, right? We can play several roles.
Agree.
Right. So anyone else? Ashwini, Rudrani, you have not spoken anything. Namrata, Yamink. No.
Yeah.
So everybody's like sure that they will now have the confidence to speak. Where is the lady who had spoken earlier? She's not there. Nandini. Okay, she's not there. Right. Now, having gone through the whole presentation, so what do you all think what do you think is confidence? All of you said you are confident. So what do you think is confidence?
It's self-belief.
Right, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. So it's a belief in your ability to succeed. And when you believe in yourself, it gives you the courage to act in the direction of your goals and make a success of your life. So the first thing we need is self-belief, and we need to value ourselves first. because how we treat ourselves is how the world will treat us, right? We teach the world how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves and by what we accept from the world. So the first thing is believe in your worth, and that worth is not extrinsic. It doesn't depend on money, title, beauty, designation, role. It is just who you are as a person, which is what I started with, right? That who you are is how you sell who you are. Unfortunately, the world applauds position, money, title, role, etc., etc. But who you are never changes. My favorite example here is of the jasmine flower, right? That intrinsic fragrance always remains, whether it's on the tree, whether it is, as a garland, whether you put it at the feet of the god or whether you put it in a woman's hair. So it's similar that wherever we are, our fragrance will spread, but that belief in ourselves has to be there. So Ria, I think that most of the people are,
yes,
have asked what they want to ask. Do you all have any challenges in your organization? Is your organization supportive in terms of all the structure, systems, support? Do you all have mentors in the organization? All that is there. Because ultimately an organization's role is very important, and that's where also you need to ask for that support, that I need a mentor, I need a person who can guide me, because often, like I said, women are not sure what skills to showcase and what skills are required to advance to a leadership level. They are imagining that I have to tick off 100 things before I become a leader, but actually only 50 out of those are important. That's what a mentor can tell you, that don't worry about XYZ, these influencing skills, conflict management, these are the most important, and you already have them. So mentorship is important. Work from home, flexible work policies. I think now with work from home, it's a game changer, especially and virtual selling too. When we were younger, again, there was no work from home, no virtual selling, nothing. We had to go. I've gone for customer calls with the baby also. So there was no choice sometimes. So I would take the baby and go. And the customers were very happy, in fact, to see the baby. She was 1.5, and he was quite happy to see the baby. So they are also understanding. And I think somewhere one of my colleagues had twins, and she used to bring the twins to the bank branch sometimes when when her nanny didn't turn up. So I'm saying there are lots of possibilities which we can do, but we don't need to quit. Who amongst you has quit and had come back to work apart from Nandini, who is not there? Anybody quit and back?
Priya is there with us.
Where is she? She's not here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Kadambari quit and came back. Did you quit and come?
It's not Kadambari, it's Priya.
Okay, your name is Priya.
Problem with my laptop, so I came here with her.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, after my first baby, I was a freelancer for 6 years. Okay. And the same time my second baby was born, and after that, recently before 5 years, I joined again. So since last 4 years, I'm here, and thankfully both my husband, my mother-in-law, and even our director, all are very supportive. So we have a very flexible atmosphere, as you mentioned. So everything is going fine, like as you said, work-life balance. So it's very good right now.
Good. It's good when there are supportive organizations and supportive bosses who believe that women can bring a lot of value. Then it helps.
Yeah.
Right.
My organization supporting me very much, giving flexible timing, work from home facility. So they only call me back for joining me. I am not ready to work back. They only called me after 2 years. Please join us. We need you like that. We will give you some flexible timing and work from home facility. But except the salary wise, they are not giving that regular timing salary, below that only. But it give confidence to me, which encouraging my knowledge and my confident level, everything. After my children's, when I joined to schooling by this year, so after that I'm ready to go regular office. After I have confidence to get full salary.
Good. So any reason, I'm just asking this question because a lot of women face this. Why we hesitate to leave our children in the care of mothers, mothers-in-law, nannies, maids, domestics? Why do we hesitate? I think women take up part-time or quit because of that reason only, right? Why do we hesitate? Cost?
I think there is also one major factor. I think I am not married, but I have seen a lot of instances around me. One major thing is lack of trust and lack of bondage. So the lack of bonding is the major reason why I think a lot of females who have delivered, they are hesitating to leave their children with their mother-in-laws and people around them. So that could be one reason, I am guessing.
Could be, but unless you utilize all the ecosystem around you, I don't think we can continue. And every time we take a break, then what Nandini said, you take a hit in terms of salary, and you take a hit in terms of the chances which are available to you or the opportunities which are available to you. So that's a decision we have to think wisely about. I didn't quit for that reason because I knew that my promotion and my advancement would be affected, and I did not think that they should be affected. And it's a myth that women at home pay more attention to their children. It's a complete myth that we cannot. It is possible, but it comes at a cost to you, more importantly, and also you need complete support from your spouse as well as your ecosystem around you. But one thing is there, that the choices are in our hands, and we have that choice not to accept what has been going on for so many years. For centuries, if something has been going on, we don't need to transfer the same thing to our daughter. And unless we stand up now and take action to change, the world is not going to change for them, right?
Right.
We must change. So we have three choices in such a situation, and maybe that's where we will end. One is give up and accept defeat. That okay, ऐसा ही रहेगा, मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकती, give up the job. Or give in and accept the status quo, कि ठीक है ऐसे ही चलते रहेगा. So give up, accept defeat, give in and accept the status quo. Or the third is give it a shot and take your chances. So why not give it a shot before you even decide to quit? Give it a shot. I decided that yeah, I will give it a shot, and I'm sure that we can manage. There were tough times, whole night you have to keep awake, the baby's sick, so many other things. But if you're clear that you want to continue, then the choices are easier for you. So Ria, if there are no further questions, I think we will.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
It's been a pleasure talking to all of you.
Yeah.
Same
So
with
thank
you.
you so much, Chitra, for such a fantabulous session. It was a pleasure to have you with us today. And also a big thank you to all our members for attending. We hope you got to learn something new and amazing. And also, before there is a request, before leaving the session, I would request everyone to fill out the feedback form which has been shared in the chat box. And thank you so much once again, Chitra, for the amazing presentation and session. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Bye bye. Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Bye bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Do connect on
Bye,
LinkedIn.
everyone.
Anything else I can support you with, I'm happy to. Bye bye.
Definitely. Bye bye.
Thank you, Ria, for calling me. Good evening.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Bye bye.